Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start. Today we shall discuss about plate tectonics. Remember, yesterday we discussed about the concept of the sea floor spreading. Now let me present. Boys and girls, do you see my screen? Let us start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us start. Plate tectonics. Let us read. Since the advent of concept of sea floor spreading, the interest of the problem of distribution of oceans and a continent was revived. So after the advent of the concept of sea floor spreading, the interest in the problem of distribution of oceans and a continent was revived. And it was in 1967 McKinsey and Parker and also Morgan independently collected the available ideas and came out with another concept term, plate tectonics. So we have learned that say about continental drift theory, and see, the main problem of continental drift theory was about the forces. Wagner could not explain properly about the forces that led to the move of the continents in different directions. However, after the post-drift studies after the Second World War, it has been explained, okay, by other geologists. And so with those new ideas and new discoveries, okay, some more concepts like sea floor spreading than plate tectonics have been come up. Okay, so let us read. So what is a plate? A tectonic plate, also called lithospheric plate, is a massive, irregularly shaped slab of rock, solid rock, generally composed of both continental and oceanic lithosphere. Let me repeat. A tectonic plate is a massive, irregularly shaped slab of rock, solid rock, generally composed of both continental and oceanic lithosphere. Okay, so tectonic plate is also known as lithospheric plate. So what is a lithosphere that you have learned earlier? See, here let us say this is the crust. Okay, this is the crust, oceanic part, and here we have mountain ranges. Okay, so this part, let us suppose this is ocean, and here this is the base of the crust, and here we have a mantle, and so here this is the upper mantle. Okay, so this section is known as asthenosphere. The upper mantle is known as asthenosphere, and this is the continental crust, and this is the oceanic crust. Okay, and this is the sea level. And lithosphere refers to the continental crust, that is maybe continental or oceanic crust together with the upper portion of the mantle. Okay, this section. the crust with the upper mantle is known as lithosphere. Okay, lithosphere. And this plate, let us suppose here we have a weak zone. Okay, here we have a weak zone in the crustal portion, and again let us say here is another weak zone in the crustal portion. And see this big landmass, okay, this big landmass starting from one weak zone to this another weak zone is known as a plate. Okay, hold this portion, so this is known as a plate. Okay, a tectonic plate is a massive, big, irregularly shaped slab of solid rock, generally composed of both continental and oceanic lithosphere. And these plates move horizontally over the asthenosphere as a rigid unit. Okay, and the theory of plate tectonics proposes that the Earth lithosphere is divided into 7 major and some minor plates. So according to the theory of plate tectonics, Earth lithosphere is divided into 7 major and some minor plates, and young full mountain ridges, trenches, and or faults surrounded this plate. Okay, young pole mountains, then ridges, trenches, and or faults surround these major plates, means form the margin or the boundary of these plates. Okay, now let us see this map. Okay, one map here. This is the map showing the major and the minor plates of the world. See here. So as we learned that we have 7 major plates. So what are the 7 major plates? Let us read. Here the first one we have this Antarctica. Okay, Antarctic plate. So here we have Antarctic plate. This is a major plate. And next we have this North American plate. Here this is North American plate. Then South American plate. Okay, and then here we have this Pacific plate. Okay, I think you are seeing boundaries. Okay, so this is the boundary. So here this is the boundary, just see it, Pacific plate. And here we have this Indo-Australian plate. And next we have this African plate. Okay, and the last one we have this Eurasian plate. So these are the 7 major plates. Okay, this covering the whole Earth surface. And see here, one thing you have to learn is that a plate may be referred to as continental plate or oceanic plate, depending on which the two occupy a larger portion of the plate. That means a plate may be divided into two. Okay, oceanic plate and continental plate. So actually see, if a larger portion of the ocean, okay, occupies a plate, we call it oceanic plate. On the other hand, if a larger portion of the plate is occupied by continent, we call it continental plate. So for example, this Pacific plate here, Pacific plate. Okay, and here this is the plate boundary. So this is the plate boundary of the Pacific plate. And see here, in this case, this ocean floor, okay, oceanic crust occupy a major portion, and that is why this is known as oceanic plate, because this oceanic crust occupies a major portion of the plate. And other ones, for example, Eurasian plate. See here, Eurasian plate. Okay, Eurasian plate. Here, Eurasian plate. So here it is an example of the continental plate, because major portion of the plate is occupied by the continental crust, and that is why this is an example of this continental plate. Okay, so these are the 7 major plates, and other some 6 minor plates also there. So what are these? Let us say, for example, here we have this Caroline plate. So this is a minor plate, small plate. Okay, this is Philippine plate here. Philippine plate is here. Then Juan de Fuca plate is here. And then Cocos plate. Okay, here we have Cocos plate, and here we have Nazca plate, and okay, Scotia plate, and here we have this Arabian plate. Okay, so these are the important minor plates. Okay, so this is about the distribution of the plates on the earth surface, and here in the book also the names of the plates are given here. Major plates are, as we pointed out in the map, we have Antarctica plate, North American plate, South American plate, Pacific plate, India, Australia, New Zealand plate, that is Indo-Australian plate, African plate, Eurasian plate. So important minor plates are Cocos plate, Nazca plate, Arabian plate, Philippine plate, Caroline plate, then PG plate. Okay, so these are the important minor plates. Then what does plate tectonic theory tell? So we have learned the meaning of plate. So a plate is a massive irregular shape slab of the this earth crust, okay, which is moving on this astrosphere. So these plates have been constantly moving over the globe throughout the history of the earth. Okay, the theory of the plate tectonics tells that all the major plates and the minor plates have been constantly moving over the globe throughout the history of the earth. Okay, and it is because of this movement of the plates that major landforms on the earth, like very say big mountain ranges, then plateaus, then big rift valleys, okay, ocean basins have been formed. Because of this movement of the plates, for example, Himalayan mountains have been formed, Alps mountains have been formed, then Andes mountains have been formed. Okay, so because of movement of the plates, all the major landforms on the earth surface have been formed. So here let me show you, okay, one more this map. See here I think you are seeing arrows. Okay, see here arrows. These arrows show the direction movement of the plates. See here, this is the map, and see these arrow shows the direction movement. See here, say this is Pacific plate. Okay, this is Pacific plate, and Pacific plate is, see, it is moving towards the west. See the direction arrow here. Okay, it is moving towards the west, and some portion is moving towards the north. Okay, likewise, see about the Caribbean plate also, see the direction movement, and the African plate is here. Okay, and about the this African plate here and the Arabian plate here, okay, we have divergence. See here, one force is moving, the Arabian plate is moving, okay, towards the northeast, and see African plate is moving towards the west. So in this way, see the arrows. Scotia plate also, see, it is moving towards the south. And here this is the plate margin, plate boundary between the Antarctic plate and the Pacific plate. And again here we find divergence of the plate. Okay, see here. And say for example Indian plate, Indo-Australian plate is moving towards the north. See the direction arrows here. And because of this, Himalayan mountains have been formed here. Okay, and here also Arakan-Yoma mountain ranges. And because of movement of this movement of the American plates, here you will find Rocky mountain ranges. Here you will find Andes mountain ranges. Okay, so all these are the result of movement of the plates. So any question, boys and girls? Up to here, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, let us continue. It is not the continent. Actually, according to the continental drift theory, continents were moving in different directions. But after the post-drift studies, okay, after the Second World War studies, we have learned that it is not the continent that moves as believed by Wagner. Okay, so continents, you know, are part of the plate. Okay, continents are part of the plate, and what moves is the plate, not the continents. Actually, see, continents are part, okay, are the part of a plate, and what actually moves is the plate, which is floating, we can say, okay, above the astrosphere, above the upper mantle. Let me repeat. It is not the continent that moves as believed by Wagner. Continents are part of the plate, and what moves is the plate, not the continent, because continents are part of the plate. Moreover, it may be noted that, okay, all the plates without exception have moved in the geological past. All the plates, maybe a major plate or a minor plate, okay, have moved in the geological past. All the plates, minor, major, have been moving in the geological past, and shall continue to move in the future as well. This is what we call plate tectonics. Okay, and Wagner had thought of all the continents to have initially existed as a supercontinent in the form of Pangaea. That we have learned. Okay, according to Wagner, all the continents were together in one part of the earth, and the name of the supercontinent was Pangaea. And however, later discoveries, okay, revealed that the continental masses, okay, resting on the plate have been wandering all through the geological period that we have just discussed earlier. Okay, the continental masses resting on the plate that we have learned, and these plates have been wandering, that means have been moving all through the geological period, and the Pangaea was the result of the converging of the different continental masses that were part of the part one or other plates. Actually, Pangaea was formed because of converging of the different continental masses, and from that Pangaea, then again different continents were broken, and now say we have these different continents. Okay, we have 7 continents on the earth, and see, it is still moving in different directions, and there will be a time that when all the continents will join together, okay, in one part of the earth. and this is what plate tectonic theory explains. Okay, and it is constantly moving. All the plates have been moving constantly in the geological past and will continue to move. That is the point mentioned here. Okay. And again, up to here, any question regarding the this plate tectonics theory?
No, sir.
Okay, see here, let us continue. There are three types of plate boundaries. Okay, when we discuss about the plates, we also must learn about the plate boundaries. Okay, three types of plate boundaries are there. Those are these divergent boundaries, then convergent boundaries, and transform boundaries. Okay, these are given here, transform boundaries. Transform boundaries. So, what are divergent boundaries? Let us read. Where new crust is generated, is the plate pulled away from each other. Okay, where new crust is generated as the plates pull away from each other. The sites where plates move away from each other are called spreading sites. And the best known example of divergent boundary is the mid-Atlantic ridge. And at these, what happened at the mid-Atlantic ridge? At this, the American plate are separated from the Eurasian and the African plates. Okay, so divergent boundary. Let us say this is plate, okay, and this is another plate. Okay, in case of divergent boundary, the two plates are moving away from a common point. Okay, so this boundary is known as divergent boundary. Here it is here. Okay, again I have to show this diagram, because this diagram is a multi-utility diagram. Okay, see here this is divergent boundary. Okay, see here, this oceanic ridge is a divergent boundary. Here two plates, okay, here two plates are moving away. One is moving, I think you may be seeing the red arrow also here. See here, from this particular point, two plates are moving away in different direction. So this boundary is known as a divergent boundary. As we learned that mid-oceanic ridges, okay, mid-oceanic ridges are the best example. For example, mid-Atlantic ridge, okay, is an example of the mid-oceanic ridge, and this is the best example of the divergent boundaries. Next, we have convergent boundaries, where the crust is destroyed as one plate dives under the other. The location where sinking of plate occurs is called a subduction zone. Okay, and this is what we call convergent boundaries. So again, let us see the diagram. We have learned that, so this is the here, this is also divergent plate boundary, and here this point is also known as spreading sides, and this is, okay, this is what we call convergent boundary. See here, this oceanic lithosphere, okay, oceanic lithosphere is moving downward here, and from this side also the continental lithosphere is moving towards this side. So one force is coming from this side and another force is also coming from this side, and so here we have got a boundary, okay, and this is known as convergent boundary. See, convergent boundary, okay, convergent boundary. So this is convergent boundary, and this point is known as subduction zone. Okay, the zone where one lithospheric plate is diving, is moving beneath the other, is known as subduction zone. This we have learned earlier. Okay. And there may be three types of convergence. Okay, there may be three ways in which convergence can occur. These are between an oceanic and a continental plate. Convergence can be occurred between an oceanic and a continental plate. So this is the best example. Okay, here we have the continental plate, and here we have the oceanic plate, and so here we have got the boundary. So this is the best example of the this oceanic and continental plate boundary. And between two oceanic plates, okay, between two oceanic plates also there, and between two continental plates also there. So these are the three ways of this convergence of plates. Okay, here we may find okay, convergence for the convergence, and here continent to continent. Okay, continent to continent. See here, one example is here in this area. Here Indo-Australian plate is moving northward, and here, okay, here, and here this continent and this oceanic convergence is here. Here we have a Eurasian plate, and here we have this Pacific plate. The last one, okay, the last type of plate boundary is known as transform boundary, where the crust is neither produced nor destroyed. The plate slides horizontally, passes other. Okay, so again, so let me just show you. This is the case of divergent, and for the convergent, the two plates moving, okay, together towards the common point. The two plates are moving like this, or one plate may not be moving also. So this is a plate, okay, and here mainly another plate may be moving. Okay, so all these are the cases of the convergent boundary. And for the transform boundary, okay, see, this is a plate, and the two plates may be sliding each other. This is another plate, okay, and one plate may be moving to this side, another plate may be moving to this side. So this is the case of transform plate boundary. So let us read. Transform faults are the planes of separation generally perpendicular to the mid-oceanic ridges. Transform faults are the planes of separation generally perpendicular to the mid-oceanic ridges. Just we have to see this diagram again. See here, here this is, okay, this region shows transform plate boundary, and here as mentioned above, okay, so these transform faults are the planes of separation generally perpendicular to the mid-oceanic ridges. So here we have the mid-oceanic ridges, and it is perpendicular. Okay, here it is 90 degree, almost 90 degree. This is the mid-oceanic ridge, and this is the transform fault, transform boundary. Okay, so perpendicular to mid-oceanic ridges, as the eruptions do not take place all along the entire crest at the same time, there is a different movement of portion of the plates away from the axis of the earth. That means here along the crest, okay, along the crest, eruption is not always taken place in all the places. in some areas volcanic eruption may be taking place. In the other areas it may not be taking place, and that is why the rate of movement of the plate is not uniform. The rate of movement of this plate and the rate of movement of this plate is not the same, and that is why we have this sliding. Okay, we have this sliding of the plates. This plate is sliding against this plate, and here also. So this is an example of transform plate boundary. The rate of movement of this plate is different from the rate of movement of this plate, and here we have the sliding of the plate. Okay, and this is an example of the this transform plate boundary. Let me show you another picture, okay, about it. See here, this one is, see, one plate, and this is plate 1 and the plate 2. This is sliding each other. One plate is moving towards us, another plate is moving away from us. So this is the case of transform plate boundary. The second one is about divergent boundary. Okay, two plates are moving away from the common point, divergent. The first one is about this convergent. Okay, so the two plates are coming together. So this one plate is coming from this side and it is pushing beneath, and this plate also may be moving towards this side and may not be moving also. And so this zone is known as subduction zone, or a trench may be formed here. Okay, a depression, very deep depression may be formed here. So this is about the three types of plate boundaries. So any question from your side, boys and girls? Any question from your side? Yes, do you hear me, boys and girls?
Yes, sir.
Any question? Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us stop here for today. Don't forget to send your names in the WhatsApp group for attendance. Thank you very much for joining my class.